Are you calling Mr. Mark?
Mr. Chair.
Right. The Honourable Mr. Brownlee.
Mr. Chair, I think I should respond to some of the comments that have been made, and starting with the comments made by Phil Goff. Mr. Speaker, the United States report that the Minister quoted was brought to the attention of the Select Committee and allegedly in the absence of any other reports that were available. Mr. Speaker, we've been in the Taji mission for just on 18 months. And in that time, in conjunction with the Australians, who are the senior partner in that particular mission, there have been some 4,000 Iraqi troops pass through that training process. And Mr. Speaker, the suggestion was that they are living in difficult circumstances, that they're not getting properly treated, let alone being given proper rations, particularly water, and that their absenteeism is at a high level. Mr. Speaker, that is not the experience of the Australian-New Zealand mission. The matters that have been raised in that US report have been directly addressed by the New Zealand mission with the Iraqi authorities, in particular the on-base living conditions of the Iraqi trainees. Mr. Speaker, there was also a question, Mr. Chair, at the start of the mission about whether or not there would be sufficient numbers turning up to the training that was being offered by the ANZAC mission. The subscription rate has been exceptionally high. So the quality of what's being delivered is accepted. The conditions under which that is being delivered has also been accepted. So I totally reject the suggestions that were stated in a United States report delivered early last year are comparable to the circumstances and experience that the New Zealand training mission has. The member, of course, screams from his seat that it was about the place where the New Zealanders are working. The place is 65 square kilometres, a huge base, and the trainees that we are dealing with are quite separate from the trainees that other countries are dealing with. And I'm sorry, but the member tries to call on his experience in these matters, but does not have the first-hand experience that others in this House have. As for the issue of the corrupt leadership, that's exactly why the Iraqi government have asked New Zealanders and Australians and the United States and the Spanish and everybody else who are there to be in Taji, to offer a training system and to offer an experience and an example that is separate and different from what they have known in the past. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, what we have to do is ensure that in Iraq, Daesh is beaten. It will only be beaten by competent Iraqi security forces. We are not going to put boots on the ground in that particular fight. It may be what the Labor Party would want to do, but it's certainly not what this government is going to do, particularly in the absence of any request from the Iraqi government itself. Mr. Speaker, there was then this question about confidence in either me or the ministry or whatever. I have huge confidence in the New Zealand Defence Force. I have huge respect for the New Zealand Defence Force. What they might think of me is somewhat irrelevant. My responsibility is to ensure that they have sufficient resources to do the jobs that they're doing. And I've got to say, I was extremely impressed by what I've seen in Taji, very impressed by what we've recently seen in Fiji. New Zealanders do make $1 of military spending go far more than almost any other military in the world, and they're to be commended for that. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Mark raised issues about the white paper. What I can say is, hold on, it's coming. There are a number of things that have emerged over the last few years since the 2010 white paper that have to be considered. Firstly, New Zealand has a big interest in the Southern Ocean. We have a big presence in the Antarctic. Yet we have had very little focus on that as far as a capability is concerned. We've sort of hung on in there. the incident that occurred about 18 months ago, where Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Mr. Browning.
Yeah, thank you for the elevation. I was very
Well,
impressed.
Speaker comes soon.
You've thrown me there. I can tell you, I've never felt so uncomfortable in my life. But the incident that occurred around about 2 years ago, where there was a close go with the 757 landing in the Antarctic, changed a lot of things, because civil aviation brought in some rules that said, well, you know, when you're heading down there, a 2-hour window for go, no go, loaded with passengers, does leave you in a difficult circumstance if you just go just a few minutes more. And the reality is that we don't have a plane that will get us there and get us back. When it comes to our ability to take a ship down to that part of the world, we don't currently have a vessel because of recent signings up to international rules or regulations about what you need for ice protection. We no longer have a vessel that's capable under those rules, safely get to the Antarctic. So you're in a position, or we're in a position of saying, well, the Antarctic's important, but we've got no capability to get there and back in a safe sense. Yes, we can still send the C-130s in, but their loads are somewhat compromised. We can still actually get the 757 to fly down there to pick up passengers, but not necessarily take them there and back. So there does have to be a broader consideration about how we work through that particular conundrum. The other thing that's emerged over the last few years is the potential reach for terrorist activities right into our own shores. We are part of the coalition in the Middle East, expressed mainly in our roles in the headquarters in Kuwait and the Taji military camp in Iraq, because we are not immune to the activities of terrorists. While we might want to sort of forget about the Lint Cafe in Australia, which is very close to us, and imagine that there would be no one living in this country who might want to engage in that sort of activity, we need to remind ourselves that we do have people on a watch list. We don't want to bring in laws that would impede on the freedom of New Zealanders to go about their business in any old way they like. But we do have to watch some people, because they have expressed in various ways sentiment that would mean that they should be taken very seriously and at least watched to make sure that they don't carry out some of the activities that we've seen in other countries. So the whole concept of intelligence around security and its role inside defence is something else that will be new in the white paper review when it comes. And once again, it's not something that you could just magic up out of the air. It has to be part of a much broader approach to things. I would be, as I have been in all things since becoming Minister, more...
I regret interrupting the member. The time has come for me to report progress.
Well...
Yeah, I do. I want to go home.
Members, the House is resumed. Mr Chair.
Mr Speaker, the committee has considered the Appropriation 2014-15 Confirmation of Validation Bill and reports progress. Mr Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
Members, the question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye, and to the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The bill is set down for further consideration in committee next sitting day. The House is suspended and will resume at 9 a.m. tomorrow for the extended sitting. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.